Welcome back to my channel. If you are enjoying this story, please don't forget to hit the like button. Now, let's dive right in. My Uber arrived and I left the building. Outside, I took a deep breath. And yes, vampires do breathe if slightly. The ride was uneventful, and after returning home, I attempted to relax but remained unsettled. I sat at my laptop to review my emails. My professors had posted my grades, which were satisfactory. I had been submitting applications for internships at several laboratories. One appeared promising. I responded promptly to request an interview. Securing this internship would help me complete my degree. My phone dinged, and I looked to find a message from Eric. He apologized for his rudeness and wanted to come by to talk. I replied that it wasn't necessary, but he texted back that he had something important to discuss with me. I figured it wouldn't hurt to hear him out. Someone had to be the bigger person, so I told him he could come. He must have been close because within minutes, he was ringing my doorbell. I let him in and waited for him to speak. I also kept my guard up, since according to him, I was an outcast and no one wanted me. I want to apologize for treating you so poorly at the club. There were too many prying ears for us to have a private conversation. I am not just a police detective, I am also an investigator for the Vampire Council. Serge was my partner, he said, but I heard him think, Serge better have left me something. Serge worked for the Vampire Council? I asked. I wasn't going to give away my hand that easily. Yes. Someone killed him before he could tell me what he discovered. He was investigating some of the people on board that yacht. Are you sure he didn't tell you anything? He asked. I need to close this case before someone else dies, he thought. I didn't know Serge, let alone speak with him, I replied. I suppose with poison in his system it prevented him from passing on his memories to you. I didn't know vampires could do that. Wow, there is still so much I don't know. Is there a way to access his memories? I asked. I wanted to see which side he was on. He was too incapacitated. He couldn't have. And you can't access what you don't have. I will be assigned a new partner. Hope this one isn't a playboy like Serge, I heard him think. He looked hard at me before he spoke. He was debating whether he should trust me. He seemed to relax and took a seat on the couch. We have criminals just like our human counterparts. Our crimes are far more dangerous. There have been a series of rogue vampires born for a single purpose. They let these feral creatures loose to hunt and kill humans for sport. There is a secret club catering to rich and powerful vampires who pay for the privilege of watching a hunt. Our intel tells us that if the vampire performs poorly, it is killed immediately after. I made a face. Oh, that's horrible. I wish there was something I could do, but I don't know anything. Still, is there anything I can do to help you? I asked, genuinely concerned. No, you're still new and finding your way. I'm truly sorry for what I said to you at the club. There were too many interested in you and what you had to say. Eric pulled a full bottle out of his jacket and handed it to me. I took it and smiled brightly at him. Thank you for this and for stopping by. I didn't know how to feel back there. I know that you will need a bit more before the hunger is abated. Look, you have my number. Feel free to call me anytime. I am at your service. Hey, do you really think the Montenescu clan will come for me? Rodrigo asked me personally to look out for you. It's just that with this investigation ongoing, I couldn't let on that I'm looking out for you. Hope they take their time. I kind of like this one, I heard him think. Thanks again for bringing me this, I said, holding the bottle tightly. Eric left with a smile and I leaned on the door. What the hell was going on? And what did he mean by he liked me? It took me another 2 weeks before I was fully acclimated to being undead. I decided to continue with my summer classes, and I interviewed and got the internship. I kept my ears open, and I tried to be friendly, but of course, being a rogue made me a true outcast. I wasn't exactly shunned, but no one approached me. No one wanted to be friends with me until Ruby showed up one night. She noticed me right away, and I noticed her too. Her thoughts came through loud and clear as she made a beeline for my table in the back. Serge instructed me on how to shut down so no one could hear my thoughts. The movies got that wrong too. Vampires can hear each other's thoughts, at least a select few did. Hi, I'm Ruby. I haven't seen you here before. Are you visiting? She asked as she sat down across from me. I'm Vicky, and yes, I'm new to town. We should totally hang, she said, nodding enthusiastically. The waiter came to our table and she held up a finger. In the beginning, I noticed that patrons ordered by way of signals. Sometimes a vampire will escort a human to the club. I wondered why until I caught a thought. The human was someone's entertainment for the evening. It took me days before I caught on, but now I'm a pro. I usually went to the underground when I was sure Eric wouldn't be there. People were less guarded and spoke and thought freely. Most nights I brought my textbooks, so while I appeared preoccupied, I was listening. Ruby took a sip of her drink and closed her eyes in satisfaction. This place serves the best, don't you think? I wouldn't know. I'm newly turned, and this place is the only place I know, I replied. Her eyes grew like saucers. Really? Who's your sire? I made a face. He's no longer with us. There was an accident, I said. Oh, you're the Montenescu heir. I heard about you. So sad, she said loudly. Where are you from? I asked. I'm from the Queens area. My boyfriend and I had a disagreement, so I left. I studied Ruby closely. She was a brunette with blue eyes. One thing was true from the movies. Vampires cleaned up nicely. Ruby was a knockout. I picked up right away that she was pretending to be ditzy. She started sizing me up the minute she walked into the club. This chick is up for grabs and I'm gonna have me some fun. It's my turn to bring in new blood, and since she's an outcast, I won't have to make one, she thought. She stared hard at me as if trying to see through me. What, did I spill some on me? I asked innocently, searching my shirt for stains. Nah, I was just thinking how pretty you are. We don't get many African Americans. So, what do you do? I'm a student at SCCC. I'm studying to be a biochemist. You never know, it could come in handy being undead, I told her. Since coming here, I realized that not only was it a stigma to be an outcast vamp, but add African American to it, and you have stereotypes of a bygone era. These vampires still believed that black people were uneducated and are second-class citizens. They truly underestimated me, but that was to my advantage. So you go to school and study and shit? The expression on her face was priceless. Yeah, I go to school and work my part-time job so I can afford to eat. Girlfriend, you are undead, live a little. And she laughed at her own joke. Cute. What do you suggest? I asked, not amused at all. You should come out to Queens with me. There is a much younger crowd, and this place is dead for sure. She laughed again. No thanks. I'm undead because I hung out with the younger crowd. Aw, come on. It can't get any worse, she argued. Let me think about it. When are you coming back this way? How about the weekend? I can show you all the cool places. My boyfriend Doug will have cooled off by then. You can stay with us and hang out. Cool, we can meet here and then have some fun, I said. Sure. Look, this place is too quiet for me. I know another place. Do you want to come? I didn't know what her idea of lively was. This was a club and the music was thumping. I pointed to my school books. I've got to study, but I'll see you Friday. Ruby stood up. Yeah, okay. I watched her navigate the room before she left. I kept my eyes on my books, doodled in my notebook, and of course, listened. The thoughts started coming in rapidly. One wanted to bet $1,200 if Ruby got me to join the hunt, while another wanted to up their bet from $2,000 to $3,000. I waited for 20 minutes before heading home. I didn't want Ruby to know where I lived or to follow me, so I made sure she was gone. I also didn't want anyone to suspect that I knew what was going on. I needed to be careful. When I got home, I called Eric. He said that he'd come when he got off work. I was so wired that I couldn't relax. Most days, after coming home, I'd rest for a few hours and then head out to the lab. I didn't drop dead once the sun came up, like in the movies. Sleep was more like a disconnect from life, but aware. I didn't stay out late either. I was usually home by 4 a.m. Yeah, I know. I'm weirder now than when I was human. I could hear Eric's car coming up the road, and I opened the door quickly for him. He walked in with his woodsy aftershave scent filling the air. Did vampires need to shave? I wondered. Hello, Victoria. What can I help you with? We need to talk if you have time, I said. I have been taking some extra shifts at the precinct. There have been more violent deaths recently, all with the victim's throat torn out and completely exsanguinated, he replied. I may have some information about that. Tonight, at the club, I met someone. She said her name was Ruby. She was overly friendly, and she offered to take me to Queens for a livelier crowd. She wants to take me to some club because it was her turn to bring in new blood, I relayed. So, you can hear thoughts. I thought so. Serge wouldn't have left you unprotected. Hearing thoughts was one of his more useful talents. Thanks for the tip, he said, heading for the door. Wait, I want to help. I told her that I'd take her up on her offer. I just need backup. If you don't have a partner yet, I'd like to help put a stop to the hunts, I offered. You may think you're clever, but these vampires are dangerous. They might drug you before you even get there, and I wouldn't be able to help you. What kind of drug would they use? What I may not have in strength, I have in smarts. I told you that I study the effects of drugs on the human body. I know I'm not human anymore, but drugs do not change their properties because they're in a vampire's body. They're still the same. Victoria, it is still too dangerous. Rodrigo would never forgive me if something happened to you. I'll find another way. I'll put a detail on Ruby. From what I can gather of her, she has been at this for some time. Your detail will not be able to trap her easily. Let me try. All I need is for you to stay close. Serge really knows how to pick them, he said, shaking his head. Okay, but we're doing this my way, or we don't do it at all. I smiled at him. Fine. What drug are they using to keep a vampire disabled? I will prepare a counter drug to make sure I can think clearly. After Eric left, my restlessness was gone, and I had begun to feel thrilled. I wanted to do this, not because I owed anyone anything, especially not Eric. I wanted to do this because killing people innocent or not was wrong. That, and something Serge told me while I was doing my death walk. That's the best way I can explain dying and becoming undead. He said that being a vampire was both a gift and a curse. He had decided a long time ago to use it for good for both humanity and vampires. He played the playboy part to keep things interesting. He learned things he wouldn't have otherwise. The case he had been working on with Eric was important because innocent people were dying, both human and the undead. His powerful family kept to themselves, and they didn't consider those beneath them worthy of their attention. It had always bothered him that the Montenescu clan thought so highly of themselves. I was part of that clan now, and I wanted to follow in Serge's footsteps. I wanted to be effective. Besides, I realized that although I had joined the Undead Club, I was still an outcast because of my race. At the Underground, I was the only African American there. The stigma of my race had carried over, and I felt the snub keenly. If I heard myself referred to as the Black Rogue one more time, I swear I would hurt someone. But that's my edge. They can think whatever they wanted. I knew who I was. Besides, Black Rogue sounded kind of cool.